Online students, can you hear my voice now? Say yes or no to me. Okay. So the last class, we written one program. Let me make small review on it. What has been happened? So our target is constructing this kind of application where the application should be included with all layers. So we successfully included all layers. I'll show it. Okay, right. Like this. Summary of above application. Small diagram like this. Summary. Suppose this is the web browser. Web browser where user will be interacting from here. According to your program, this is application 1. This is the first diagram you had it. Wherever the HTML is there, that is web browser, because the data will means execution happens on web browser. HTML is executed on the web browser. Generally, these two parts are web browser. First request is coming to add employee servlet. The first request coming to, whenever I click on add employee, the first request is coming to add employee servlet. Add employee servlet. SERVLET. The request is coming here. The request is post request, because in HTML form we written method is equal to post. So what this add employee servlet is doing? Sir, this add employee servlet will create bean. Add employee servlet is creating one bean object. It is creating one bean object. It is creating. employee bean. Employee bean object it is creating. So add servlet is creating employee bean. It is creating. It is creating employee bean. After creating employee bean, it is creating one DAO object. It is creating DAO object. It is creating one DAO object. It is creating, that is add employee DAO. Add employee DAO. This servlet is creating add employee DAO. It is creating. When it is creating add employee DAO, it is passing this reference as parameter, means it is interlinking the two objects. It is interlinking. Yes or no? Na? It is interlinking that two objects. It is interlinking. It is interlinking these two objects by passing the address location. Interlinking. Now this add employee DAO, this add employee DAO here. Add employee DAO. Add employee DAO. Internally accessing con. Add employee DAO through this method, accessing con using one class known as DB connection, means add employee DAO is accessing one object, one class actually, that is DB connection, one class actually. Through that class DB connection, through that DB connection, through that DB connection here, through that DB connection, one con object created. So internally con object linked to database. To provide this information, we are using one more known as DB info, means we are using one database info here. Database related driver, not driver, URL, username, password, and so on. DB info, one interface I kept. Now our database is communicating through this DB connection. Our database is communicating with this DB connection. Database. This is the communication available here because the con object created here, and this DB connection through here one connection is established. That con object connection is established. All of you understood this point, right? Right. That is one class. In that class, one method is there get con. Through that get con, we are bringing that address and using in the add employee DAO we are using. Once add employee DAO, returns the K value here. Where is this? Returns the K value here. Returns one K value here. If K is greater than 0, I am sending the response to add employee JSP. Means here we are bringing one JSP. Add employee JSP here. One response is coming. Add employee dot JSP. I am adding like a file, JSP file. where this JSP is giving the response, giving the response. This JSP is under the control of servlet. So this is your first layout. All of understood this layout, right? First layout. Whenever the JSP response came, background everything is destroyed except these components because they are not objects. They are, one is interface, one is class. If it is object, object will be destroyed. Anonymous objects will be destroyed under garbage collection process statement is there for us. So except one object, servlet context. Servlet context will not be destroyed until the application is removed from the server. So this is the first response you will get it. There is a application I typed on the day one. Is a response. I stopped it. Now we are clicking on view employees on Saturday. We are clicking on view employees on Saturday. Sir, whenever I click on view employees here, second request, view employees. Here get request is coming because whenever we use form tag method is equal to post, that is post request. Remaining all get only. Whatever the request coming to servlet other than method is equal to post in form tag. That request is get request only. Here one anchor tag is available. href is equal to view means URL pattern. Through anchor tag href, the request is coming to one servlet. We are calling it as get request. So finally, view employees servlet. Next servlet. View employees servlet. Sir, view employees servlet. Next servlet. View employees servlet. This view employees servlet is taking the request. So it is taking the request. It is get request. Get request. Now, what view employees servlet is doing? Sir, this view employees servlet through view employees DAO, one object. View through view employees DAO. Through view employees DAO. Here. Through view employees DAO. View employees DAO. Now servlet is controlling this. Controlling. Now, this view employees DAO here. View employees DAO. Reusing the connection. It is not creating connection. It is using the connection. Same. db connection dot get con. Sir, it is reusing the connection. Only JSP I'm drawing in blue color. Now it is reusing the connection. Same connection is reused. It never creates. Only connection established only once. That only static block. I written one static block. No. In core Java interview also that only where we use static block means to write a database connection code in MVC. That only answer actually. Static blocks we never use in core Java. Observe it. All methods, variables only will be there. Constructors also not needed actually. Interview point of only constructors in core Java. In advanced Java, where is constructor? All are interfaces only, no. If all are interfaces, setter method, getter method only popular. Constructors only for core Java point of view only constructor. Constructors later on slowly, they'll become weaker. Because constructor means I want one new keyword followed by one constructor call. This kind of pattern you never see. Only in core Java, that new keyword will be there, followed by one class name will be there. Through that class name, we can call one. That pattern is core Java pattern. But here, that constructor also will become weaker slowly. So anyway, we are reusing that connection. Right. What view employs DAO is doing? Sir, view employs DAO according to diagram. It is creating one JCF object, Java collection framework object. Yes or no? Na? Java collection framework object is created. Sir, it is creating one JCF object. It is creating one Java collection framework object, that is array list. According to our application, we created array list employee bean. Just for I'm highlighting that, right? Sir, this is nothing but JCF object. JCF object. Java collection framework object. Where more number of beans. Where more number of beans. So they are all bean objects, no? Right. Sir, this is one bean. So this is one bean. And the beans are linked to this array list. Beans are linked to this array list. All the beans are linked to this array list. This array list is created part of DAO, and that view employee DAO is sending this address to servlet. Servlet is getting this AL. According to this diagram, this servlet, see that AL is taken by the servlet. Have you observed this? Right. Okay. Now, what this view employee servlet will do now? This view employee servlet will add this AL to request. That is a new thing happened without nodes. Okay, right. So we add this AL to one request. We are adding one variable, non-primitive data type variable, A list added. I forward it. Whenever I forward it now, JSP can access this 0x99. It can access. So view employee JSP. Finally, servlet is keeping one response. Servlet is keeping one response here. View employee JSP. View employees JSP. View employees servlet. Forwarding the control. View employees dot JSP. View employees dot JSP. Dot JSP. Now it is forwarding the control here. And JSP is giving the response. The response. When JSP is giving the response now, servlet given the address of A list. Servlet passed the address of A list. So this A list means JSP can access this object. It can access. So JSP can access this object. Servlet given permission. So this is your above program. All of you understood? Says or no to me? Right. Rules. According to real time JSP MVC rules. Who has to take the request now? Servlet has to take the request. Who has to give the response now? JSP. MVC rules will be there. Real time market. MVC. Model View controller. This is controller. C means controller. View means JSP. If view JSP not there, JSP chapter will not be there. JSP chapter will not be there. That is a rule set. Already you are eligible for Spring already. Not only Spring, you are eligible for web service also. You are eligible for web service also here. What is this? 1 minute. 1 minute. Always I'll show one syllabus for you. 1 minute. Java certification path I'll show always to educate you. Instead of learning all things, whatever you learn, you must be master of it. You must pick it and travel it. So this is Java EE with web services. Here details are there. No? In these details, this is your target actually. This only your target. When you're joining one LKG, UKG or first class, what is your target? Sir, I want to become a lawyer or engineer or doctor only. Yes or no? Na? Somewhere you not dreams, but your father, mother will dream it. That happens or not happens are secondary. At last you should come to Amirpet only nowadays. Right. Even my daughter also will come to Amirpet only. Yesterday her mother is scolding, some progress report came. That last exams. I said, I also got 99 marks in mathematics. What happened today? I'm not writing mathematical formula. No. I studied something, I'm working something. At last, my daughter also will come and sit in this chair only, I think. Nana something, Java, core Java, dot, something. For something, roughly I'm speaking anyway. But our target is what? I'm sitting in core Java also, my target is Spring and web service only, sir. I'm sitting in advanced Java also, my target is Spring and web service only, sir. Even Oracle HTML also, my target is Java, not Oracle HTML. Don't become master in Oracle HTML here, not needed. If you become master in Oracle, then what Oracle developer will do? If you become master in HTML, CSS, what UI full stack will do? You don't become master there. You must be master in your domain only. Java, core Java. Understood, right? Our target is this, sir. Whenever I want to go there, I need a servlet. Where is this? I need a servlet. Whenever I want to go here, I need a servlet. As a controller, I need a JSP as a view. Understood that? In that JSP, some validation I want it. That is script. Understood now? So how the links are there now? You cannot go to JavaScript directly. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You cannot come to servlet directly. Understood this point now? I must know variables, sir. I must know methods, sir. I must know blocks, sir. I must know class, sir. Core Java. I cannot come to servlet directly. I must go to JDBC and come. Understood this point? So you want a JSP na JSF? JSF is very less used when compared to minimum JSP they are using. So why you are collecting this? My target is this. You are eligible for your target today. The reason HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you know, minimum output you are giving from JSP, minimum control you are taking. Already understood the data is coming to request. I'm collecting, I'm putting on bean. Minimum knowledge I got it, sir. With this minimum knowledge, I can start something in the next level. Meanwhile, your conclusion is available. JSP conclusion is there. Servlet some conclusions are available. That is secondary part. But a minimum knowledge you got it not to make it travel in the next level. Why I'm showing this means your target is, don't forget your target. To reach this target only, a story has been started with variable, method, block, constructor. I need one class, sir. The class today, one servlet program, sir. The servlet program is extending from one HTTP servlet. I must know inheritance, sir. That all you collected from core Java, you're applying here. You're learning servlet, JSP. From HTML trailer, you're learning JavaScript for validation. JavaScript is for validation. Everybody should become master in JavaScript. Java developer should have good hands on JavaScript. You cannot escape. JavaScript minimum. Validation is there, no? Enter pin number, 4 digits. Example. 4 digits you can write in Java program also, you can write. I'll find the length, sir, equal to 4. Market is, don't write it. Give to script people, they'll validate it. Enter phone number, 10 digits. I also can check, sir. Finding the length, write one while loop, control, check all that digits and say equal to, why this all length? Go to script people and say that. If that length not matches 10, they only will give a red mark to you. Yes or no? No? Because of this reason, developer should have great hands-on script. Always I'm showing to you because you should not forget your way now. Right. So this is related today. This one, why I written a review here? Diagram means, sir, in this, servlet is taking the request, JSP is giving the response. Servlet is creating bean, sending the bean to DAO. DAO is using the connection, doing the work and giving the response to JSP. Now servlet is taking the get request, creating DAO through DAO, creating one JSP, controlling all beans came from database. The data came from the database and binded here or not now. So this one I'm giving to servlet. Servlet must not display, no. I'm asking JSP to display. JSP will ask where I must display. Then JSP said, I only will give an address to you. I give an address, you display. All of you got one idea? And I planned to show that two requests. One is post, one is get. And I shown beans, I shown DAO, I shown JCF, and this is connection. So why you have to maintain connection separately? If database changes, only this layer you can change it. MVC says that whenever you enhance the project, whenever you change the project, major things must not be changed. Minimum code only must be changed. That only architectural models available in the market because they are maintaining all separately. All of you understood the review? Says or no to me? Right. My target is touching all these layers. All these layers I touched through that program. Whether the program executed or not, raise your hands to me. How many of you executed successfully above program? Right. Online students, how many of you executed above program? Employee details? Raise your hand. Online students. Right. Now, today's class is, I used one concept known as attribute I used. I'll give a notes on attribute to you and one small assignment. I'll go for the next concept. Next concept is nothing but last concept only. Next concept. Why means, sir, who is adding the employee? Who is seeing the employee? User, if not a admin, some login process we are going to do. That's called session track. We are going to add session track for this project. The same thing I'll expand and come slowly. Okay, right. Now today's class is here. Before writing attributes, make it star mark IMP. This diagram I'll add in your uh, notes. If you want to draw it, leave one page and write it because in the future you're going to add one case study on employee details case study. How you done also you must have an idea. How you done? They'll ask you to explain the flow. Sir, I added like this. You must explain the same flow. If you draw on the paper and show to him, he will understand. You only developed, he will understand. Right. Keep in double quotes. Attribute in servlet programming. Attribute in servlet programming. Attribute in servlet programming. Attribute is a term used by HTML trainer also. You will use attribute term generally. That action is equal to method is equal to, maybe he call it as attribute, I think. Oracle trainer also may use the term known as attribute. The two people are different. And for me, what is attribute? Look here. Before saying that attribute to you, one object layout. Up to now, how many objects I should visualize related to servlet and JSP? When your application has been deployed, automatically one object created. What is the first object created? Servlet context. First object created. Then the control will go to web.xml. It is a mapping file or auto executable file, part of your web application. I am forcibly making to write one web.xml because up to now you not seen XML course in your journey. At least you know HTML, you know Oracle, you know .java. But XML I not yet learned, sir. Means I am forcibly introducing one XML course also available in your journey. So I'm bringing only one file known as a web.xml. I will not bring more also because XML course not completed. No, we take only one file, that is web.xml, name same, lowercase always. Through web.xml, I'm linking one home page. Home page means a starting page of your application. That's called home page. Your wish, whatever the home page you want to take, you can take that home page. Through that home page, we are passing one request to servlet. Means, so we are identifying the servlet. But before servlet object creation, there is one object created automatically known as what now? Second object created is what now? Servlet config. In the servlet context, server information is there. In the servlet config, servlet name is there. Servlet name is there. Now, after that, your servlet program anyway. Servlet program object. I am writing it as servlet, servlet. While do post method or do get method, one request object created here, one response object created here. HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response. So servlet is not giving any response. If a servlet want to give the response, it has to take the support of print writer. So you must not use print writer according to real-time scenario. And in yesterday's application, sir, DAO came in the background. Sir, DAOs came, beans came, on demand, JCF also came. Java collection framework object also came on demand. Sir, bean object came. DAO objects are coming. One object is add employee DAO object. View employees DAO objects. They are all DAO objects. On demand, we are bringing one Java collection framework object. This DAO objects only through DB connection, they are communicating with the database product. So database product communication indirectly available to DAOs only because DB connection dot get con. They are only communicating with them. Through DB connection, the communication is happening. So these are the objects. Okay, right. Now the servlet is sending the response to one JSP. Now, whenever the JSP program is loaded here, when the JSP program is loaded, we are visualizing some implicit object names. We are visualizing. Implicit object names means we are not giving the object names. JSP related container only will give the object names. JSP is more automated, like your HTML. In HTML, what you will do? Nothing you will do. Observe it. Logic also not available. Copy paste only there. Observe it and once. What you'll do in HTML? If you take 150 tags, print out, keep in the bag, that only will be there. If the tag not there, search in the Google search engine and copy paste, answer will come. I'm not using any logic, no, sir. Observe the HTML. All are automated only, no? H1, one header, this size will come, sir. H1, you are not doing it. Already it only doing her. JSP also tag based only, no? I only given notes, no? Whenever I say tag based, the meaning is there, automated there. Again, you cannot ask me how it is coming. You cannot ask. Automated, no? JSP. Tag based programming language. You never do anything. .java means you must do everything. Manual. You must do anything here. So here, auto executable things are happening. What is the implicit name available here now? Config. And the request object is reused with a name known as a request. Implicit name given to the request object is a request. Request and response. And response. So there in the servlet manually we are creating print writer. But here one object is coming known as out. That is for JSP writer. In a JSP conclusion, the nodes will come. Where it is interlinked here. These are the out. So 4 implicit names. Up to now you completed this only. Up to now I completed this. I used everything but 2 objects I not used, sir. Context. I am not displaying the server information. I want to know how to display server information. Config I not used. Here config not used. Means context config not used. They are available. I had an information. For what purpose we are using them, information is not there to you. You have to wait it. They'll come in the last. Now this is the work you've done up to now. And in this week now, what we are going to do in this week? We are going to work with 2 more objects. We are going to work. The 2 more objects is HTTP session. One more object coming here. HTTP session. HTTP session. One object. One more object is coming known as cookie. One object. Daily in our websites, one cookie will be there, no? That cookie only. So cookie object is going to come. So in this week, 2 more objects are going to be entered. One object is HTTP session. One object is cookie. After completing the 2 objects, then we complete context and config. After that, your course will come to 90%. These only objects. This is only object. This now how many objects pending means 4 objects only pending in my hand. One I must bring HTTP session object, cookie object. Lastly, I must bring context and config, and 90% will be ended. Then we introduce MVC architecture, conclude JSP, and we'll leave the class. That's a pattern. So now we are targeting 2 more objects known as session and cookie. But our siding is attribute now, right? So why I drawn this diagram means attribute is a variable in servlet programming. Attribute means variable name. Attribute is a variable in servlet programming. I don't know what we call in HTML. I don't know what we call in Oracle. In servlet programming, attribute means a variable. That variable also non-primitive data type variable, not primitive. If you add int, float, char, error will come. Because our language is object-oriented programming language, you cannot work with primitives. So that variable is a non-primitive data type variable only. Make a statement. Double quotes. Attribute is a variable in servlet programming, and which can be added to servlet context, which can be added to servlet context object, servlet request, servlet request. Here servlet request means HTTP servlet request object and HTTP session object. Attribute is a variable in servlet programming and which can be added to servlet context object, servlet request object, and HTTP session object. Now, sir, why you written bracket here? The reason servlet request is a parent of HTTP servlet request. Servlet request is a parent of HTTP servlet request. So you must write servlet request object. Parent name you must write. Nothing but according to your diagram is HTTP servlet request written in the bracket. Look here. In this diagram, where I can add this attribute, you can add attribute to context. Means you can add one variable to context. You can add one variable to context. You can add one variable to request. You can add one variable to request. You can add one variable to session. So attributes can be added to three objects of servlet programming. One is context, one is request, one is session. All of it clear? Right. Whenever you want to add it, in yesterday's program, I used set attribute. One method I used. Can you see this? Set attribute, adding attribute to request object. Attribute means variable. I am adding variable. What is the variable now? A list. This A list is assigned with one value AL. What is AL now? Array list. Array list is what now? Class. Class means non-primitive. Non-primitive data type variable will hold what now? Reference. So if anybody says I am passing object means object will not be passed. Address only will be passed. The market people will say I am passing object, I am catching object, I am throwing object. They can say whatever they want. They can say developer should know, no, you cannot throw object. Object is a memory. How can you throw the memory? Exception is there? No. They'll throw the exception. They'll say exception is a class. No. Class means object. No. How can you throw the object? Object reference, you can throw it. If the market is saying whatever it means, developer should know the exact things. Not only visuals, no. Why many people are confused? They will not understand few things. Why they will not understand few things in the future means base correct will not be there. When the base not there, few things they will not understand. If anybody says I am passing object as parameter means close your eyes. Object you cannot pass. Reference you can pass. 0x2, 0x3 you can pass. That you know, array list object created somewhere, but servlet taken that reference and given to JSP. Here object not moved anywhere. So reference has been moved. Here also I am passing reference. To access this, in JSP programming, I used get attribute method I used. View employees.jsp. I used a method known as get attribute I used. There set attribute, here get attribute, make it. The following are the following methods are used related to attribute. Related to attribute. The following methods are used related to attribute. Related to attribute. I'll show the methods from your context. You can show the methods from any location you can show. See there. You can show the methods from context, or you can show the methods from request. You can show the methods from session. Anywhere you can show. Let me show from session. Same methods only, session. I'll open the session and show it. Right. Java P Jakarta dot servlet dot http dot http session. I'm taking. Here some methods are there. You can see. I'll filter from here. You'll understand. Here get attribute method is there. Set attribute, remove attribute. Can you see the methods here? Set attribute, get attribute, remove attribute. If more number of attributes are there, get attribute names. Write it. The following methods are used related to attribute. The first method is set attribute. Get attribute. Remove attribute. Remove attribute. Get attribute names. Get attribute names. Normal meanings only anyway. Set attribute. Set attribute method is used to add the attribute to objects. Set attribute method is used to add the attribute to objects. Whenever you want to add one attribute object, we are using set attribute. So what is the format? Method signature. Method signature. Method signature. Right. Completed? Right. See there. One information. Why I'll write always method signatures in your notes means not to bad it. Just to make you to understand something from that method signature. What you have to understand. This method is non-static. Of course, substatic is there means non-static only. This is non-static. Non-static means you have to access with class name, object name. Non-static means you have to access with class name, object name. All of you understood that core Java pattern? Object name you have to call. Means this method can be called by the object name of context or object name of request or object name of a session. That's the first information for a student. Second one, this method is having void. If any method declared with void, that is return type or non-return type, it will not return any value. It is a non-return type. Now this method is with parameter. There's the information given. How many parameters? Two parameters. First one is what now? String. Second one is what now? Object. What is the meaning means? String means name, means attribute name. Object means any object. You can take user defined class, many things, employee object, display object, string object, integer object, yesterday array list object. You can take any type of object because object is the parent of all classes from core Java. So that is the information. So what is the above program I done now? I took attribute name as a list. You can take any name. Any name you can take. What is the object I passed now? Array list object I passed. So array list object I passed meaning is what I said. No, whatever we speak is different. Visual different. Visual in visual one address is coming or not now? The address is assigned. All of understood this method, right? Now this attribute available in the context or request or session or whatever it may be, to get that attribute, we are having a method known as get attribute. Make it. We are having a method known as get attribute. One is setter method, one is getter method, nothing but. Get attribute method is used to get the attribute from the objects. Whenever you want to get some attributes from the objects, we are using get attribute. We are using JDBC. If you don't read also, no problem. Only 4 or 5 objects you remember. Connection statement. But servlet, whatever I am recording, everything you should remember. You came here for servlet programming only. You came. I shown the syllabus also. Servlet only important. Related to servlet, if you resume updated with advanced means they'll ask servlet only. Servlet related, whatever the notes I am writing, that should learn 100%. What I'm writing, recording, 100% you should learn. Read the notes and add it. 100%. JDBC, few things also no problem because modified no spring ORM, spring data, all modifications occurred. So minimum how many objects I know means I written the list no connection object statement and that objects enough. I learned this one with JDBC. I can interact with this one enough. But servlet, everything you must know because again servlet will not come. Servlet will be modified and come. So servlet related, everything you must learn. Even if you say the methods in the interview also, he will ask what you are going to do. He will ask. So you are going to get the attribute. See that method signature here. Method signature I am taking. Get attribute. Get attribute. Look here, same. Static keyword not there, non-static, you have to call with object name anyway. Now here void available or not available? Void available or not available? Not available. Void not available means return type or non-return type? Return type. This method is returning what now? Object. Here parent name given means it can return any object. It can return. So what is the parameter now? String means you must give attribute name, you have to give it. So how I written the syntax, you will understand this. Whatever I written on the JSP, maybe you not followed on that day. I modified and came. This modified I'll load today. 100 I written plain. I modified and came. Some table tag I kept it. Right? Okay, see that. Now here, request is the object name dot get attribute. Attribute name I'm giving in the form of double quotes because string no, right? It returns object, but the object should be converted to our form, array list. I'm converting or not now, right? Object is the parent of all classes. That parent I'm converting into child means downcasting process. According to core Java, downcast. Downcast means parent to child is a downcast. Child to parent is a upcast. So I'm converting object to array list. All your user defined classes, predefined classes, all are child classes to object. This is a downcast process. I got array list. All of you clear about get attribute? Suppose if you don't give correctly here, okay, right? This will raise one exception here. AL will be null. Null pointer exception will come. If anybody got null pointer exception here, this name you not used correctly. This notes will write in the core Java also. Java.lang null pointer exception will be raised when we are trying to use one non-primitive data type variable which is assigned with null value. Really will write. So somewhere null pointer came means non-primitive data type variable is holding null value. So next, somewhere on demand, if you don't want it, you can remove the attribute. Sometimes we have to delete the attribute because multiple users are coming. No, one user will keep attribute there. That attribute must not be available to second user. You have to destroy it. So you had an option known as a remove. They give an option known as a remove. Remove attribute. Remove attribute. Remove attribute method is used to delete attribute from the objects. Remove attribute method is used to delete attribute from the objects. Used to delete attribute from the objects. Method signature. This is the method signature. You had it. Public abstract void remove attribute of java.lang.string. Right. Same. Sir, non-static method is void, non-return type. Here string means what? Remove attribute a list. Automatically that attribute will be deleted. That's the meaning. Here I not removed. Somewhere I'm going to show that remove operation. We can remove it. All of you understood this? Right. Okay. If more number of attributes are there, sometime you can add more number of attribute to context, more number of attributes to request, more number of attributes to session, you can add it. Whenever you are adding more number of attributes, you are going to collect all that names, attribute names. Using that names, we are going to display. When we want to display the data from multiple attributes, then we take the support of get attribute names. This program I'll use separately. This method I'll show to you. Okay, right. Make it get attribute names method. Names method is used to get all attribute names, all multiple attribute names from the objects. Names from the objects. Right. So method signature. Write it. Public abstract java.util.enumeration get attribute names. Right. Now see there. How many of you know enumeration? Raise your hands. Enumeration. Sir, immediately idea not coming, sir. Java.util.enumeration. One in one interface. Enumeration is used to retrieve the elements from vector object from core Java, that is collection framework. In vector, one method will be there, elements, java.util.vector. In this vector, one elements method will be there. Elements method return type is what now? Enumeration. So this elements method will create the object of enumeration. Enumeration will work on the vector, that is core Java knowledge. That enumeration is coming to servlet. So this method I'll train separately. Separate training will be given on this method. Separately, I'll add some 4-5 attributes to one object and I'll introduce how to use enumeration in the servlet. I'll use separate programming on it. Okay, right. After a few syllabus covered, one day I'll write one small program. So did this. All of you understood these 4 methods available? All of it clear? Right. Okay. Now see, whatever the program I executed on Saturday to you, I added the code to you. I am running once again. Run as, run on server, click on finish. So view employees, I kept one small table form, I kept it. Remaining color I not added, small table form. I'll add this program to you. Modified employee view employees.jsp. Modified, I'll add it. You replace that already view employees.jsp with this program. This output will come. Observe that and come. Tomorrow I'll explain how I kept that table tag inside. Okay, right. So followed by here. Here note NVT in note. I'll add this modified code of view employees.jsp. To give a assignment question today, time not there. Tomorrow, 5 minutes, I'll give the assignment question. Tomorrow's class is session tracking. Session tracking means organizing the user within the login to logout. Tomorrow, I'll reveal that point to you. And one more point here. See there. Modified. I'll add this code to you, copy it. So this is the code I added. JSP. Here I brought one table tag in. I used one uh, expression tag I used. I'll explain this to you anyway. Once you'll get a clarity. Already you know the table tag, but how I written the table tag in the scriptlet tag. Within that scriptlet, I written a one more tag that I'll explain to you once. Okay, right. Now one more point is, because diagram, once I'll conclude it. Whatever the attribute available in the request of servlet, whenever I forward the control to JSP, same request only this, where is this? Same request only this request. JSP request is nothing but a servlet request. JSP request is nothing but a servlet request. When JSP request is a servlet request now, when JSP request is a servlet request, the same attribute is available here. Already you had a program. Yes or no now? Already you had this. But the question is, whatever the attribute available in the request, JSP can access. Okay, fine. But one attribute is in the session, one attribute is in the context. How JSP will access that attributes? How JSP is going to access that attributes? Now JSP is going to use two more implicit object names for session. For HTTP session, it is going to use one implicit name known as a session. What is the name now? Session. The session itself is the HTTP session object. JSP can use directly. Now servlet context also can be used by the JSP by using one implicit name known as a application. What is the name now? Application. Total JSP has here 6 objects here. 1. Config, request, response, out, session, and application. Session means to access the members from HTTP session. Application means members from context. These two objects can be used by the JSP directly. Anyway, request object directly are using no means what? The attributes available in the servlet can be accessed by the JSP directly. This diagram I'll add it. Okay, right. Object layout. Servlet objects layout. I'll add this diagram to you today. So make a review and come. Tomorrow, first 5 minutes, I'll give one small assignment question. You keep yourself busy with assignment question. Meanwhile, I'll be covering session tracking. Two remaining objects want us to know what I'm going to cover in this week. I'm going to cover HTTP session. I'm going to cover one cookie. After the two objects completed, I'm going to cover context config. With that, all objects will come to an end. Right. Take a break. Thank you very much for today. is the variable name you are adding? The attribute name you are adding.
Name is not there. It's the value.
What you are adding? What?
Array subject.
Before that, what is there?
A list.
A list is what? Attribute name.
Yes, sir.
That is predefined and user defined.
That is it. One more. Sir, this DB info, can I take here class? Yes, sir, interface. Separate. You cannot take it to one class.
What you can take market will not answer. Start to market.